These Israeli protesters are trying to block desperately needed humanitarian aid from entering the Gaza Strip. The UN warns that food and drinking water have become extremely rare in the enclave after 4 months of Israeli bombardment. The protesters say they're afraid the aid will be diverted by Hamas, the group that runs Gaza and was behind the terrorist attacks on Israel on October 7th. The protests have been happening since January 24th at the Kerem Shalom checkpoint, one of 2 border crossings where the Israelis allowed the delivery of aid to Gaza. There have been similar protests at Nitzana, a desert town where the Israeli army inspects trucks on their way to Gaza. Protesters have also targeted the port of Ashdod to try to stop trucks that have been loading up with aid meant for Gaza. The protests are being organized by a group called Tzav Tesha, Order 9 in Hebrew. The group includes families of Israeli hostages being held by Hamas in Gaza and survivors of the October 7th attacks.
יוצאות חזרה, עולות על כביש 10 המצרי, נכנסות במעבר רפיח. לאן? לידיים של חמאס.
A Franco-Israeli group called Israel is Forever has also joined the protests.
Alors, nous sommes ici avec Israel is Forever et jusqu'à 4 heures, nous empêcherons les camions de passer.
France 24 journalists Claire Duhamel and Catherine Norris-Trent interviewed the group's spokesperson.
C'est un mouvement populaire qui est né il y a 4 semaines. Suite à l'annonce du directeur du Shin Bet, Ronenbar, qui a signalé et déclaré qu'aux connaissances d'Israël, 70% de ces convois militaires arrivent dans les mains du Hamas. Ils sont juste hijackés une fois qu'ils sont partis de Kerem Shalom et partis des inspections israéliennes. Ils sont pris en otage littéralement par le Hamas.
But the UN's coordinator for aid to Gaza told us there's no indication the aid is being diverted by Hamas.
We take the aid that comes in, the humanitarian assistance for us, we take it to our warehouses. Our own people then deliver from warehouses to shelters where we run and support those shelters. So I don't know how that interpretation comes out there. As I've said, there is looting that goes on, but they look like it's organised gangs. And there's also some opportunists to take the chance as well. There's a great deal of smuggling. The law and order situation has become a major factor in our ability to address the situation. We used to be able to work with the police there, but they are no longer active because of their own security concerns.
Journalist Rami Abu Janous, who is based in Gaza, also blames a breakdown in law and order. He sent us this video of an aid truck being looted.
Vous voyez dans les images, c'est un truc organisé entre des bandits ou bien des familles qui attendent des camions qui passent pour attaquer, mais c'est juste pour quelques camions ou bien quelques sacs de farine. Au début, le Hamas, il tenait l'ordre et personne n'osait attaquer, mais le jour où il n'y a plus de Hamas, où il n'y a plus la police de Hamas, du coup, tout le monde se profitait pour attaquer. Et je vous ai dit, il y a ceux vraiment qui cherchent à manger et à boire parce qu'ils ont faim. Il y en a d'autres qui sont là pour profiter, pour vendre dans le marché noir.
The United Nations says the aid getting into Gaza is a small fraction of what is needed. In the first 2 weeks of February, the UN told us, fewer than 1,450 trucks entered Gaza, or around 100 per day, while the humanitarian needs require at least 500 trucks a day. The aid getting in via Kerem Shalom has been significantly below capacity due to Israeli protesters, the UN told us. Madhat, one of our observers in Gaza, says that whatever aid is getting through is quickly gone.
هي شريان الحياة الوحيد الموجود حاليا رغم أنه المساعدات اللي بتدخل قليلة جدا يعني كعلى صعيد الشخصي يعني لم أتلقى إلا مرة واحدة أو مرتين مساعدات وهي قليلة جدا لا تكفي لأسبوع يعني مرتين لا تكفي لأسبوع واحد.
The UN's top court ordered Israel on January 26 to take immediate and effective measures to allow humanitarian aid into Gaza. On January 28th, the Israeli army declared Kerem Shalom and Nitzana closed military zones as a way to keep the protesters out. Israeli police took measures to halt some of the protests and made dozens of arrests. But the protests have continued. On February 14th, France 24's reporters filmed a convoy of protesters heading to Nitzana. They were stopped by police on the main road, but simply drove around them. The protest went ahead. At least one soldier joined the applause. We asked the Israeli police why they let the protesters through. They gave no explanation, saying only that the broad picture is that aid is still getting through to Gaza. On February 13th, Israel's far-right finance minister said he was blocking a shipment of 1,000 containers of flour at the port of Ashdod, so it wouldn't fall into the hands of Hamas. That's it for this week. Many thanks to our reporters Catherine Norris-Trent and Claire Duhamel for contributing to this report. I'll see you next time.